Yuze, are you secretly stolen in the back mountain? If you don't go back to practice your skills, believe it or not, I will kick you down the mountain. A sharp sound pierced the quietness of the morning. On the path behind the mountain, a young disciple wearing a long green robe stared at me with disdain. I lowered my head and looked at the soil under my feet. The broken wooden sword in my hand trembled, and I didn't say a word. This guy is called Li Feng, who is the little overlord in our Qinjianmen. Relying on his talent, he bullies us these outer doors all day long. I, Yuze, the most inconspicuous outer disciple of Qinjianmen, have not practiced the basic skills developed by the various sects, and anyone can step on me. What, you're slap? Still shocked? Li Feng walked closer with a sneer, raising his hand and trying to slap me. I bit my teeth tightly, took a step back suddenly, held the wooden sword tightly, and said in a low voice, "Brotherly, I'm just practicing the sword here, don't you?" Practice? Just your waist, you are still practicing? Ha ha ha, it's so funny. Several followers behind Li Feng also burst into laughter, and their laughter pierced into my heart like a knife. My face was red and I wanted to find a place to diamond it, but the wooden sword in my hand was tighter. It's not that I have no temper, but that I know that enduring it is useful to exercise. My parents are no longer here. I can only rely on half of the art of breaking my own way of entering Qingyun. After enduring it until now, how could I lose this life because of a moment of anxiety? Okay, I'll say nothing. Today there is a task to collect the spirit grass from the back mountain. Don't let me go to the deepest ghost forest. Don't come back empty-handed, otherwise you will look good. Li Feng threw down a sentence and left with his follower. Ghost fog forest? There was no monster in that place, and even the disciples in the inner door dared to go in at will. I obviously wanted to kill me. I gritted my teeth and looked at their backs. A fire broke out in my heart and slammed my brain, but it still kept pressing. Okay, the ghost forest is the ghost forest, and at worst, you can fight. I packed up the broken wooden sword, carried a cloth bag, and walked towards the depths of the back mountain alone. The smoke became more and more dense along the way, and there was a fishy smell in the air, which made people feel hairy. My heart was drumming, my palms were covered in sweat, but my pace didn't stop. There is no way, and the spirit can't be taken away. Li Feng's helper will definitely not let me go. After most of the time, I finally arrived at the edge of the ghost forest. I was about to find a tree to hide, and first observe the situation. Suddenly I stepped on something soft under my feet. When I looked down, I saw a group of mud, and there was a golden light hidden inside. What is this? I squatted down curiously, and used a wooden sword to scoop the mud. I suddenly found a thumb-sized seed, all of which was golden, emitting a warm breath that was beyond words. My heartbeat inexplicably speeds up, and a thought pops up in my brain: this thing is absolutely not simple. I just rolled up the seeds, and before I could look at them, a sudden rush of footsteps came from my ears, followed by a familiar and disgusting voice. Yuze, do you really dare to come to the ghost forest? Hey, what are you holding in your hand? I turned around suddenly and saw Li Feng walking out of the mist with several followers, smiling greedily on his face. I felt nervous and hurriedly stuffed the seeds into them, put them in as if nothing had happened. It's nothing, it's just a broken stone head, and I'll come and have fun. Broken stone? Where is the traitor? Take it and let me see. Li Feng snorted coldly, and reached out and snatched. I quickly retreated, my brain flew quickly. This seed is not an ordinary thing at first sight. If I showed it to him, can I still have my life? But if he doesn't give it to him, he will definitely not be good at slack off. As the conversation was over, a low growl suddenly came from afar, and a huge black shadow swept out from the fog, directly slamming Li Feng and the others. It's a ghost wolf. Run! Li Feng's face changed drastically, and he ran away. Several followers followed him, but the black shadow was very fast, and he slapped a person with one claw, and blood was all over the floor. My legs were so scared that I felt soft, but there was only one thought in my brain: run. While the ghost wolf was paying attention to Li Feng and the others, I held the seeds in my arms and rushed into the deep forest without looking back. The roars and crying from behind kept coming, and I didn't dare to stop, and my lungs were almost blowing. I don't know how long I ran, but the smoke gradually scattered. I fell into a cave and gasped on the ground. The seeds inside were still there, emitting a faint golden light, and I relaxed. Just when I wanted to rest, I suddenly sneered from the entrance of the cave, "Yuze, you run very fast, but unfortunately, you can't escape." I raised my head suddenly and saw a young man in a black robe standing at the entrance of the cave, his eyes as cold as a poisonous snake. It's Zhihao. The #1 genius in Kinjiam, and is also the person I hate the most. His father is a senior and has been trampling on me since he was a child. My parents' death cannot be separated from his family. Why are you here? My voice was trembling, and my mind was pressing and holding the seeds in my heart. Why are you here? Ha, Yuze, do you think I don't know you are in the ghost fog? Send that seed, otherwise I will let you die more than your parents. Zhihao walked closer step by step, and his body felt a strong sense of pressure. He cultivated at least the condensation state at the top of the inner door, and I had no room for resistance. I gritted my teeth, and my brain was full of hope. This seed must be a treasure, but I will be a victim when I hold it. Just as I was about to fight to the death, a powerful voice from the old man suddenly came from deep inside the cave. "Little baby, what is the ability to bully an outer disciple?" As the voice fell, a white light shot out from the hole, directly hitting Zhihao, forcing him back for a few steps. I was stunned. When I turned around, an old man in white robe walked out quietly, with white hair on his head, and his eyes were as sharp as a knife. "Who are you? Do you dare to care about my Zhihao?" Zhihao's face was so beautiful that he didn't dare to step forward again. The old man snorted coldly, "I Wenxiong, a wandering cultivator in the world. Boy, your cultivation is good, but your mind is too bad. Let's take it off, don't force me to do it." Zhihao gritted his teeth, glared at me fiercely, and finally turned away unwillingly, and wrote the next sentence, "Yuze, I have remembered this account. Sooner or later, the seeds belong to mine." I watched Zhihao disappear into the fog, and my heart was still beating wildly. Turning his head and looking at the old man, he hurriedly knelt down. "I thank you for helping you." Wenxiong held his hand and his eyes fell on me, and said lightly, "Little guy, what you have in your hand is the seeds of the holy blossoms, the most inventive treasures. It can change your destiny and bring you a destiny. Do you dare to take on this fate?" I was stunned. The seeds of the holy sage. The most precious treasure? I lowered my head and looked at the golden light flashing seeds, and a fire ignited in my heart. So what about waste firewood? I have suffered a lot after being stepped on for so many years. This is my chance. What to give up? Foreign, I dare. No matter how big the bad, I will change my fate. I gritted my teeth and looked firm. Wenxiong pointed his head a little and smiled. "Okay, I have ambition. Since that's the case, I will help you. Then the hero will not be good at silence. If you want to survive, you must become stronger. Follow me, I will take you to the forbidden area of immortal arts and learn a worldly art, a sword to break the sky." My heart was shocked. Is the forbidden place of immortals? A sword breaks the sky? It's so awesome when you hear it. I pointed at the head without hesitation. I wished to go forward. Wenxiong didn't say anything more, and took me out of the cave and walked deeper into the fog forest. But just after walking out, several men in black suddenly stopped going, and one of them sneered, "Yuze, young Master Zhihao, let us send you on the way, hand over the seeds, or die." My heart sank. This must be Zhihao's subordinates who have come to report it. Wenxiong stood aside and said lightly, "Little guy, this is your first battle. Let's solve it yourself. Let's see your potential." I swallowed, clamped the wooden sword tightly, and my brain was full of anger. Solve? What should I solve? But as the men in black approached, I suddenly felt afraid of being so bad. I have the treasure in my hand and the waist is squeezing forward, afraid that you will have these little tricks. Come on. If you want to kill the seeds, just turn it over. I shouted and rushed up. Although my cultivation is poor, at this moment, I only had one thought in my mind: I will fight. The first man in black punched me, and I hid from the side, and the wooden sword stabbed him hard at the lower abdomen. He was in pain and stepped back. I kicked him over with one foot, turned around and grabbed another person's knife. Although I was hit by it for a few strokes, I gritted my teeth and held it up, and knocked down all three men in black with a ruthless voice. When the last man in black fell down, I was covered in blood and panting, but I felt so happy. The first time I stepped on these people who bullied me. This feeling is simple and not too cool. Wen Xiong looked at me and pointed, "It's good, it's a bit skewed. Let's go, the trial of the forbidden area of the immortals is the real beginning." I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, grinned, and followed him on. "Chihao, wait, one day, I will let you know that waste can also trample you under your feet." I followed Wen Xiong all the way to the deep forest of the ghost fog. The fog became more and more heavy, and there was an inexplicable sense of pressure in the air, as if something would come out at any time. I held the broken wooden sword in my hand, and my heart was both tight and excited. In the forbidden place of immortals, it is not a good person to hear, but when I think of learning such a spin of a sword, my heart feels like I'm injected with chicken blood. "Foreign, what is this forbidden place? What does it mean to try to do it?" I couldn't help asking. Wen Xiong glanced at me and said lightly, "The forbidden land of immortals is the place where the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm is hidden. It contains the inheritance and treasures of countless ancient immortals, but it is also full of killing and demons. Trying to fight with your life is to fight. If you can survive, you can become stronger. If you can't survive..." He didn't finish it, but I felt a chill in my heart. After walking for most of the time, a huge stone door suddenly appeared in front of him, with runes that were not understood, and a faint blue light radiated. Wen Xiong stopped and said in a deep voice, This is the entrance to the forbidden area. After entering, I will not help you, rely on myself for everything. Remember, save your life first, don't show off." I clicked my head, took a deep breath, pushed the stone door and walked in. As soon as the door was closed, Wen Xiong's voice disappeared completely, and the surroundings fell into silence. In front of me was a narrow stone corridor, with crystals shining on the walls on both sides of the walls shaking. I walked forward carefully, and my feet were rumbling in the stone corridor, so tight that my palms were covered in sweat. Without walking for a few steps, the ground suddenly shook, and several red lights flashed across the wall, and then countless sharp thorns shot out from both sides, directly rushing to me. I was shocked and quickly fell to the ground. The spikes flew over me and pierced into the opposite wall, making a harsh sound. "Damn, this is just killing? It's too crap." I got up, sneered, and cold sweat broke out on my body. I haven't been able to survive yet, and the ground is shaking again. This time it is not a spike, but a few huge stone slabs smashed down from above. I gritted my teeth and hit hard, and my shoulders were rubbed by the corners of the stone slab, which hurt so much. After several waves of traps, my wolf was as slutty as a dog, my body was covered with dust, and my broken wooden sword was almost worn out. But a fire ignited in my heart. "What are you afraid of? Isn't it just some destructive methods? My life is very strong, and if you endure it, you will be successful." After finally passing through the stone corridor, my eyes suddenly opened. It was a huge underground cave, filled with night pearls, shining like the daytime. There is a stone platform in the middle of the cave, on which is a black spirit stone the size of a palm is placed, scattering a faint spirit. My eyes lit up, and this must be the treasure to try. But before I could be excited, a low growl suddenly popped up around the cave, and several dark monsters walked out of the shadow, their eyes glowing red, and their teeth were pointed like a knife. I felt nervous. This thing was hard to mess with at first glance. It was probably a guardian of the forbidden area. "Wait, come and see if you can help." I gritted my teeth, held the wooden slab tightly, and pulled out a frame. Although my cultivation is poor, I just fought with Chihao's subordinates, and I feel a little confident. A demon beast was the first to snatch it, with its claws carrying fishy winds. When my side flashed, the wooden sword slashed hard on its back leg. But this sword was too broken and the pressure did not hurt it, but it made it even more angry and turned its head and bit my arm. I was scared to retreat, but was knocked down by another demon beast, and my claws directly made a bloody mark on my chest. Grass, it hurts me so much. I covered my wounds and pulled aside, feeling my heart straight in my heart. These beasts are so powerful that I am not a match for this. Seeing that they were coming up again, my brain felt hot, so I just raised a sharp stone on the ground and smashed it at the eyes of the demon beast. Ayo! The demon beast felt pain and screamed. Taking advantage of this empty file, I got up and ran towards the stone platform. As long as you get the spirit stone, you may have the chance to lose yourself. But after running for a few steps, my back suddenly slammed and a demon claw slapped down hard. My whole body was smashed and fell to the ground, and I felt my internal organs shifted. Ahem. I really want to explain this today. I spitted blood, my eyes blurred, and my brain was full of hope. The demons approached step by step, and I was exhausted from getting up. At this moment, an old voice suddenly echoed in my brain, "Little guy, are you giving up this soon? The holy sacrificial flower seeds have chosen you, but you are not going to die. Forward? Wenxiong's forward?" I was stunned and immediately responded. This was Wenxiong's secret technique to convey the sound to me. "Here, I'm sharing your way of breaking the sky. Whether you can survive depends on your understanding." Wenxiong's voice was cold and heartless, and then a series of obscene words spread into my brain. At the same time, a warm current flowed out from the seeds of the sacred celestial flowers in my heart, flowing all over my body, making me feel shocked in an instant. I bit my teeth tightly, stood up and closed my eyes and recalled the words. The mind method is very mysterious. It means that it is condensed into the sword, controls the power with the mind, and breaks the heaven and earth with one sword. Although my cultivation was poor, the power of the seeds in this mental method made me feel an unprecedented force moving in my body. Come again. I opened my eyes quietly, growled, held the wooden sword tightly, and slashed the nearest demon. This drama is not fancy, but there is a hidden airflow ring on the drama, making a sharp sound. The demon beast did not react and was cut into the brain by me, wailing, and retreating. It's done! I was delighted. Is this the power of a slap in the sky? Although it is just a fur, it is 100 times stronger than before. I took advantage of the victory to chase and slashed out another ball, and this time I directly chopped the monster to the ground. Although I was not dead, I couldn't get up in a short time. But the other few demons were even more angry when they saw each other. When they came, I could only grit my teeth and resist. Although I was blessed by the mind, my strength could not keep up, and my wounds were getting more and more, and my blood was almost drying out. Just as I was almost unable to hold on, a cold voice suddenly came from the entrance of the cave. A group of low-level monsters dare to act wildly? Before he finished speaking, a blue snare flashed over, and the demon beast on his head was split into 2.5, with blood all over the ground. I was stunned and looked up. A girl in a green skirt stood far away, holding a long sword in her hand, as cold and arrogant as an iceberg. Her eyebrows and eyes are delicate, her skin is shining with whiteness, and her spirit radiates even stronger than Jihao. "Who are you?" I gasped, my brain full of questions. "Why are there others here?" The girl glanced at me and said unhappily, "Lin Jiqing, a member of the Qingli family. Look at you as a wolf, you should be a casual cultivator, right? Why can't even beat several Blackrock wolves?" I was choked and couldn't speak, and I felt a little dissatisfied. What's wrong with the casual cultivator? Didn't I come in the same way? But I didn't dare to be tough, but I just saved my life. "I thank you for helping me. My name is Yuze. I am from Qinjianmen, a disciple from the outer door." I slapped my head in awkwardly. Lin Jiqing raised her eyebrows and said nothing more. She turned to look at the remaining monsters and said lightly, "These beasts are guardians, and they can only get the spirit stone after being killed. If you still have strength, just go up with me and don't drag your back legs. I gritted my teeth and said, okay, fight. Although I was so hurt, when I thought of the feeling of the scorpion, my heart was ignited again. Lin Jiqing's magic tricks were clean and neat, and she could not help her with several demons under her hands for several rounds. And I cooperated on the side, and with a crack of the sky-breaking mental method, I slashed my head again. Finally, the demon beast roared and rushed towards me. My heart became tight. My brain suddenly flashed through the sea of mind. My wrist trembled, and the wooden sword carried a faint breath, piercing the demon beast's throat. With a puff sound, the demon beast fell to the ground. I also felt exhausted and sat on the ground, gasping for breath. Huh. I finally got it done. I wiped my sweat and looked at the full demon gang, and I felt very happy. It's the first time I've been fighting such a strong opponent, and I still win. It feels so simple and amazing. Lin Jiqing put away the long sword, walked to the stone platform, picked up the black spirit stone, turned her head to look at me, and there was a little more conviction in her eyes. You are not very good at practicing, but it is quite a bit different. That sword is just a little meaningful. Where did you learn it? I smiled and said without further ado, Homeborn, I'm practicing. Take the spirit stone. I know I'm a few pounds. I'll have already been hanging up without you. She was stunned for a moment, and immediately threw the spirit stone to me. Take it, Lin Jiqing, I will not take advantage of others. This spirit stone is the first priority award for the trial. If you take it, it will increase your spirit and will be more useful for you as a foundation difference. When I took the spirit stone, my palms warmed up, and I felt a pure spirit rushing into my body, and I felt a lot of injuries I had suffered before. My heart was filled with heat. Although Lin Jiqing was cold, she was still quite good. Thank you, I will give you this favor. I grinned and stood up. Lin Jiqing ignored me and turned to look deep in the cave, and said with a brow, the first thing is so difficult, and it will probably be even more cumbersome later. If you are afraid of death, it is still time to quit now. Fear of death? A joke. I'm very hardworking, and I have to continue to do it next. I patted my chest. Although my mouth was hard, my heart was actually a little bit stupid. I was almost dead, and there might be any danger in the future. As he was speaking, a rapid sound of footsteps suddenly came from the depths of the cave. Then several men in black walked out and sneered in the head, Yuze, I didn't expect you to be alive. Young Master Zhihao has an order, hand over the seeds, otherwise this forbidden area will be your burial place. My face darkened, damn, Zhihao is still in a state of mind. These men in black have a good cultivation level, and the leader even has the energy in the middle stage of the condensation state, which is many times stronger than me. Lin Jiqing glanced at them and snorted coldly, people from the Xi family? You dare to interfere even in the Forbidden Area trials. You are so stupid. The man in black in the head smiled and said, Miss Lin, this is none of your business. If you hand over the rein, we will not overturn the river. Otherwise, the Qinglin family will not be able to protect you. I felt tight in my heart, held the wooden sword tightly, and said to Lin Jiqing in a low voice, this matter has something to do with me. Don't be harmonious, so as not to get tired of you. Lin Jiqing sneered, and the sword pointed directly at the man in black. I'm tired? What Lin Jiqing, bothered the most is to be threatened. Yuze, although your cultivation is poor, it's just a bit of friendship that has fought on your shoulders. I'll fight you in this scene. I was stunned for a moment, and a warm feeling suddenly surged in my heart. The first time someone wanted to stand out for me, I felt, it was really unworthy. When the man in black saw this, his face turned cold, looking for death. Go ahead, kill them, and kill them back. As the voice fell, several men in black rushed in at the same time, and their spirits burst out, and the pressure made me breathless. A flash of my heart, and recalled a sword that broke the sky in my brain. The wooden sword once again condensed a sword and forced the attack of the first man in black. Lin Jiqing was faster, and the sword was as bright as a rainbow, and she instantly forced the two enemies to retreat. but there were so many people on the other side that we were quickly suppressed. I had a few more wounds on my body and the blood kept flowing. It was almost impossible to hold back, and a low roar suddenly came from the depths of the cave, as if a stronger demon was shocked and rushed towards this side. Damn, this is really over. I gritted my teeth, and my heart was full of bitter smiles. In front is Xiao's subordinates, behind is the demon beast. This is a rhythm that will kill me. Lin Jiqing's face also changed, and she said in a low voice, "First solve these people, let's talk about the demon beast later." "Yuze, hold it." I clicked the head, held the wooden skeleton, and prepared to fight for the last move. But at this moment, the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers suddenly became hot, and an inexplicable force rushed into my body, making me feel refreshed. My brain flashed and my breath seemed to be stronger than it was. "Come on, who are you afraid?" I shouted and rushed towards the nearest man in black. The sword light flashed and forced him to take a step back. Although the injury is not light, a ruthless heart ignited in my heart. "Xiao, do you want to kill me?" "No door. Even if I climb today, I will climb out of this forbidden area so that you can turn over even if you see the wasteland." I gritted my teeth and clenched the wooden sword. The blood flowed almost dry, but the cruelty in my heart became stronger and stronger. The few men in black in front of me were all in the middle stage of the condensation state, and my spirit was so stressed that I couldn't breathe. Although Lin Jiqing was slandering, there were many people on the other side, and she was still showing fatigue and sweat all over her head. "Yuze, if you can't hold it back, I'll take it back." Lin Jiqing forced a man in black to retreat with a slap in her head, and she whispered to me, with a hint of anxiety in her voice. "Retreat? No way to retreat. Even if I die today, I will still have to take some slap." I gritted my teeth and cut my head, and the humiliation was full of humiliation that I had just been chased by Xiao. The seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers in the sun were still getting hot, and the inexplicable power kept pouring into my body, making me feel more and more energetic. The man in black in the head sneered, and slapped a long knife in his hand, slashing my brain with a cold light. "Huang Chai, be stubborn, right? Then let you go on your way first." My pupils shrank, and I couldn't think too much. I flicked my instinct and wiped my shoulders with a knife light, bringing out a bloody mark, which made me suck my breath. But I didn't retreat, so I gritted my teeth and stabbed him hard on his waist. Although there was no energy, there was a hidden energy on the tip of the sword, and a hole was made on him. "Is this waist still capable?" The man in black felt pain and his face darkened. It was obvious that I didn't expect me to fight back. He was about to take action again, when a deeper cave suddenly came, and a more rapid growl came from the depths of the cave, as if some big guy was awakened. His footsteps were getting closer and closer, and the ground was shaking. Damn, there are really monsters. My heart sank. I turned my head and saw that in the shadows, a giant monster that was a circle larger than the black rock wolf just now walked out. Its body was red and its eyes were like two groups of flames, making people breathless. Lin Jiqing's face also changed, and she said in a low voice, "It's the red flame lion, the demon beast in the base realm. We are not against each other. Solve these people first, otherwise you will be killed if you are caught." I clicked the head, but my heart was very painful. Solve? It was easy to say that these men in black were already in full swing. Adding a monster in the base realm was a deadly rhythm. But there is no other way at the moment, so I can only fight hard. I bit my teeth tightly, and recalled the magic of breaking the sky taught by Wen Xiong again, trying to condense more magical atmosphere. But when the mental method was halfway through, the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers in the silence suddenly shook, and a stronger heat flow came out, instantly sank throughout my body. My brain buzzed, as if I was struck by lightning. My whole body was filled with energy, and the power in my body suddenly swelled. The broken wooden sword in my hand began to shake slightly, making a low sound. Is this the power of certs? I was stunned for a moment, and glanced down at the sight. The golden light of the seeds became even more intense, as if they were alive. I felt a little excited and I realized that this thing exploded at the critical moment. I couldn't think too much about it, and I held the wooden sword tightly and slashed the man in black with all his might. Swoosh! The speed and power of this drama were more than twice as strong as before. The drama was as angry as a rainbow, and with a broken voice, it directly slashed the man in black on the chest. He didn't even react, and he screamed, and his whole person was chopped and smashed hard on the wall of the cave, spitting blood, and he couldn't even get up. What? The other men in black had a big change in their faces, and the one in the head even shrank, and they said in surprise, "Why is this waste suddenly so strong?" Lin Jiqing also turned her head and looked at me, her eyes filled with surprise, but it quickly turned into a hint of recognition and shouted in a low voice, "Okay, kill me while you are now." I grinned and felt very happy. This feeling of violent power is so cool. As soon as the seed exploded, I seemed to have changed my personal life. Although I was still so delicious when I practiced, each drama was filled with an inexplicable atmosphere, which made the other party dare not take it head-on. "What are you afraid of? Come on!" I shouted and rushed to another man in black. The swordsman kept flashing, forcing him to retreat. Lin Jiqing also seized the opportunity, and the magic method was unfolded, and the green light was like a rainbow, and another enemy was solved in an instant. We worked together and suppressed the remaining few men in black. But the good times didn't last long. The red flame lion had completely walked out of the shadow, and a deafening roar came out, and a flame-like breath spread out from it, swaying in heat. I felt nervous. This thing was stronger than Jihao, and we were not a match at all. "Yuze, retreat first. Stay Green Mountains there, don't be afraid of no firewood." Lin Jiqing gritted her teeth and said, pulling me to run to the other side of the cave. But the man in black in the head smiled and stopped at the way. "Want to run? No door. The red flame lion was specially brought to you by young Master Jihao, and you want you to die here. Brothers, hold them down and let the demons solve these two guys." My heart sank. Damn, Jihao's dog thing is really cruel, and he has taken advantage of it. Seeing the red flame lion approaching step by step, the flames on his body became stronger and stronger. Lin Jiqing and I were forced to the wall of the cave and had no way to retreat. "Try it." I gritted my teeth and said to Lin Jiqing in a low voice, "You find a chance to run away, I'll hold them back, the seeds are on me, they won't let me go, but you still have a chance." Lin Jiqing glared at me and said unhappily, "Close your mouth. I, Lin Jiqing, never let down my warriors. You have the blessing of a seed and the power to fight back. Don't waste your words and drive with me." My heart warmed up, I slighted my head, held the wooden skeleton, and prepared for a last try. But at this moment, the red flame lion suddenly roared, and a group of flames sprayed out from his mouth, rushing us straight toward us. The heat in the skin was almost burning. My heart sank. It's over, I really want to hang up now. As the hair was covered, the seeds in the sea shook again, and the golden light was flourishing. An invisible barrier opened in front of Lin Jiqing and me, forcibly squeezing the flames. Although the barrier shattered after only a few seconds, it also gave us some breathing time. "Can this seed still protect you?" My eyes lit up, and a burst of hope ignited in my heart. Since the seeds are so powerful, am I still afraid of hair? I growled, and a sword that broke the sky in the brain turned to the extreme. The spirit and the power of the seeds in my body merged, and an unprecedented sword burst out from the wooden drama, which was half a foot long, with thunder and visible force. "Go to die." I slashed the man in black at the head, and the sword was as angry as a rainbow, directly tearing the air and making a sharp sound. The man in black had a big change in his face, and he could not hold it back at all. The knife broke the man's flying, and the whole person was chopped out more than 10 meters away, smashing it to the ground without knowing his life and death. The other men in black saw this and were stunned and retreated in surprise. "How is this waste possible? It's impossible. I'll let you know today that Wu Chai can turn over." I gasped, my wounds hurt so much, but my heart felt so happy. This drama is the most awesome time since I cultivated my life. What about Jihao's subordinates? I was still slashed by me. Lin Jiqing also took the trouble to solve the last man in black and turned to me. Don't be stunned, the red flame lion hasn't solved it yet, run. I clicked and turned my head to see that the red flame lion was already furious, and the flames on my body stormed and came towards us. We ran away and headed towards the passage on the other side of the cave. Although the explosion of the seeds has greatly increased my strength, I also know that fighting hard to the base realm of this demon is seeking death. After running for a while, the roar of the red flame lion behind him became more and more remote, and he shouldn't have caught up with him. Lin Jiqing and I sat down against the cave wall, gasping for breath, covered in sweat and blood, and the wolf was so tired. Huh. I'll just regain my life. I wiped my face, grinned, and looked at Lin Jiqing. I've just given you more. If you hadn't helped you, I would have been shut up. Lin Jiqing gave me a blank look and said lightly, don't waste, your seed is not simple, and the power just now exploded, and I was shocked. Tell me, what is this thing? I hesitated for a moment, and still said in a fairy tale manner, it is a flower seed of the holy sage, and it is the most inventive treasure. I don't know what it is for, but Jihao's dog thing has been squeezing. I smiled bitterly, and a desire aroused in my heart. What about Jihao? I am now blessed by a seed, and there is a sword that breaks the sky. One day, I will let him kneel in front of me and beg for a favor. As he was speaking, a sudden rush of footsteps came from the other end of the passage. Lin Jiqing and I immediately felt alert and stood up with our arms tightly. But the one who approached was not the enemy, but a young man in a gray robe, with a few book curls on his face and a broken elixir in his hand, which looked a bit funny. You Lin? When I looked at the man, I was very happy. This guy is my few brothers in Qinjianmen and a disciple from the outside world. He usually doesn't like to cultivate his brain and studies some messy elixirs all day long. Although he practices like me, his brain works so well that he can always make some weird things. Yuze? Why are you here? Yulin was also stunned, grinned immediately, walked over quickly, patted my shoulder. Damn, you are like a wolf, are you just fucking someone? Blank, I almost had no life. I replied without any worries and asked immediately, why did you come in? This forbidden area is not a place to play. Yulin smiled and shook the elixir in his hand. I heard that there are many rare spirit grasses in the forbidden area. They came in and leaked, so I tried the new elixir recipe. I didn't expect that I heard the fight sound halfway through. When I came over, I saw it, it was you. Lin Jiqing looked at Qianlin coldly and asked, are you Yuze's friend? How low are you in your cultivation, and you dare to enter the forbidden area? Zillian slapped her head, and sure didn't mind her attitude at all. She smiled and said, I cultivated it, but my brain is not bad. This forbidden area trial is not all about strength, but also about luck and wisdom. I have several elixirs to protect my life, so I can only protect myself. I heard the straightforward joy. This guy is still the same, he doesn't speak up, but he always surprises people. I pointed to Lin Jiqing and introduced, this is Lin Jiqing, from the Qingli family, and I just helped me with it. Yulin, this is my brother. Don't think that he has poor cultivation. Huadan is a good master. Lin Jiqing pointed at her head and said nothing more. When Yulin came over, she asked me in a low voice, Yuze, I heard that you were chased by Jihao, what's going on? I briefly mentioned the story of the holy sacrificial flower seed. After hearing this, Yulin's eyes lit up and said excitedly, creative treasures? Awesome! If this thing can be used well, it will definitely turn over. Yes, I recently developed a pill recipe, which is called the 9 Turning Soul Returning Pill. The material is deep in the forbidden area. Why don't we look for it together? With this pill, any injury can be cured, and Jihao is not afraid of finding trouble again. As soon as I heard it, my heart moved. Resurrection? If this is really something that can be produced, it is simply a life-saving tool. I turned to Lin Jiqing and asked, what do you think? Why don't you fuck each other? There are so many people in Jihao. We are just fighting alone is not an option. Lin Jiqing was silent for a moment, and finally said, okay, Ji's family is very strong, and I don't want them to keep staring at it. The three of them are always stronger than each one. Yulin slapped his thigh and said happily, "That's it. Yuze, you have good fighting power with treasures. Miss Lin plays a magic trick and is responsible for the head-on battle. I am responsible for the elixir and logistics, and we three iron triangles, and we can help Zhihao." I grinned and suddenly felt a sense of treading in my heart. The first time, I was not alone. I had brothers and allies, and I felt really unworthy. I stood up, patted the dust on my body, and said, "What are you waiting for? We'll walk in the depths of the forbidden area." Lin Jiqing and Yulin also pointed, and the three of them made up for a while and continued to move towards the depth of the passage. Although I didn't know what dangers there were before, the feeling of the explosion of seeds was still lingering in my heart, and the scene where Zhihao's subordinates were chopped by me made me look excited. "Zhihao, wait, I not only want to survive, but also let you know that waste can also trample you under your feet. The core of the forbidden area, the 9 turning soul pill, these are my opportunities, and I will not let go of any of them." Yulin and Lin Jiqing walked shoulder to shoulder in the passage deep in the forbidden area. The air became increasingly bitter. The surrounding stone walls were covered with moss, emitting a rotten smell. The light of the night pearl became darker and darker, and the sound of his feet reverberated in the passage, making people's skin numb. I held the broken wood in my hand, and the holy sacrificial flower seeds inside occasionally emitted a hot stream, which made me feel a little refreshed. "Yulin, where's the 9 turn soul pill material you said? This ghost place is getting more and more evil. I always feel that there is something wrong with it." I asked in a low voice, my eyes swept around, afraid that there will be another trap or a demon suddenly popping out. Wu Lin wiped his sweat, holding the old pill in his hand, and smiled. "Don't worry, according to the book Battle of Pill in my hand, there is a place called Nether Valley at the deepest point of the forbidden area, where 3 rare spirit grasses are long ghost flower, bloody vine and 9 fruits." Lin Jiqing snorted coldly, and the long sword in her hand moved slightly, as if she was ready to take action at any time. "Resurrection? The smallpox is blown away on the alchemy book, who knows the truth or falsehood? However, the more you go in this forbidden area, the more dangerous it is. Xiao's helper will definitely not let us go, so be careful." I slight my head, and my heart is also a little hairy. Xiao's dog thing is cruel and ruthless. He sent his subordinates to chase me and killed me before, but he didn't succeed. He might have to take people to block us. Thinking of this, I held the wooden sword tightly and gritted my teeth and said, "Don't worry, come and do one of them. The spirit grass must be obtained. With the elixir, we will have enough energy." Yulin patted my shoulder and said happily, "Yeah, Yuze, this is your style. Don't worry, although I can't fight, the elixir is definitely worthy of relying on it. Once the materials are obtained, the boiler will be opened." The three of us continued to move forward, the passage became narrower and the fishy smell in the air became heavier. After about half a minute of walking, my eyes suddenly opened up and a huge underground valley appeared, surrounded by black fogs. The bottom of the valley was filled with strange plants, some of which were still emitting faint green light. I felt nervous in my heart that this place was not a good place at first glance, but there were indeed a few spiritual plants in the middle of the valley, scattering a heavy spirit. "That's the ghost flower." Yulin's eyes lit up, and he pointed to a transparent flower and swaying like a ghost, rubbing his hands with excitement. "The red blood vine next to it is the bloody vine, and the black fruit farther away is the Jiuyang fruit. Damn, the Dan book has no cheating, it's all here." Lin Jiqing looked at her eyebrows and said in a deep voice, "Don't be too early to be excited. The spirit here is too heavy, and 80% of them are protected by powerful demons. Be careful and don't fall on one head." I clicked and just wanted to say something. A low growl suddenly came from the bottom of the valley, and then several giant wolf with dark bodies and green eyes walked out slowly, with a stronger atmosphere than the previous red flame lion. My heart sank. Damn, what's this? The Nether Wolf King, the demon beast in the late stage of the base realm, is more difficult to deal with than the red flame lion. Lin Jiqing gritted her teeth and said in a low voice, "Yuze, can you use your seed power?" If that thing is not released, the three of us are not against each other. I felt the seeds in my heart and smiled bitterly. I just exploded once. I don't feel any silence now, so I guess it's going to be smooth. I try my best to cooperate with you to fight. Yulin swallowed and said in a low voice, why don't I throw a few explosive flame pills first, fry them up, and fight for some time? Do you take advantage of the opportunity to take the spirit grass? Okay, that's all. I gritted my teeth, looked at Lin Jiqing, and prepared their weapons. Zhu Lin took out a few red elixirs from his back and threw them at the wolves. He heard a few loud noises, and the flames were 4 times. Several wolf kings were blown away and screamed. The bottom of the valley suddenly became a group. Hurry, rush! Lin Jiqing shouted softly, and the sword light was like a rainbow, and he was the first to rush towards the wolf king. He was so angry that he forced him to retreat. I also gritted my teeth and followed, and turned a sword into a slash of the sky in the sea of brain. The wooden sword suddenly condensed a sword and cut at the legs of the other wolf king. Although I couldn't hurt it, it at least held its movements. Zilin took advantage of the trouble to attack the spirit grass and started picking it quickly, muttering, I got the ghost flower. I also took the blood vine. Just the 9 fruits, hurry up. But the wolf king was in the late stage of the foundation realm, and the power of the explosion flame pill could not damage them at all. Several wolves quickly returned to their senses and roared at us. Lin Jiqing pierced a wolf's eyes with a sword, but she was also hit by the claws of another wolf. After she stepped back, blood was overflowing from the corner of her mouth. My situation was even worse. After a few moments, a deep hole was caught in my chest, which made me suck in my breath. Yunlin, hurry up! I can't hold back! I yelled, and the sound began to tremble. Good soon, you got the Jiuyang fruit. Yulin shouted excitedly, and ran back with 3 spirit grasses in his arms, but at this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the mouth of the valley, with no intention of killing. Yuze, you really have a kind of person who dares to come to the Nether Valley. Unfortunately, you don't want to leave today. My heart sank. When I turned my head, I saw Xiao standing at the entrance of the valley wearing a black robe with several inside masters, his eyes as cold as a poisonous snake. The spirit radiated on his body was stronger than before. It was probably close to the peak of the foundation land, which made me feel so stressed that I couldn't breathe. Damn, Xiao is here. Zilin's face changed drastically, and the spirit grass in his hand almost fell to the ground. Lin Jiqing wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and sneered, young master of the Xi family, you chased me very tightly. Why are you afraid that we will take the treasure and harm your good things? Xiao snorted coldly, his eyes swept over us, and finally fell on me. He said in a cold voice, Yuze, hand over the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers, I will keep you all. Otherwise, I will let you 3 die more than these demons. I bit my teeth tightly, my heart full of anger. This dog thing will kill me everywhere. Even if I die today, I will not make him feel better. I growled, want to get a seed? Be a dream. If you have the ability, I will fight you. Xiao's face darkened and he didn't say anything anymore. He waved his hand and several subordinates immediately rushed over. At the same time, his body flashed and rushed directly into me. A cold light burst out from the long sword in his hand, and his breath was as strong as a rainbow, which made me unable to move. Yuze, hide. Lin Jiqing shouted and forced herself to slap a sword for me, but she was injured. The shot was directly chopped and hit the ground hard, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Jiqing. My eyes turned red, and my heart felt like it was being slashed by a knife. Lin Jiqing wanted to help me, so I could still bear it. I yelled, held the wooden sword tightly, and a sword broke the sky and the sea of my brain turned to the extreme. I forced Xiang Zhihao to burst out, and burst into tears and stabbed him in the chest. But Zhihao was too powerful. With a blow, my breath was shaken away. He kicked and hit the stone wall. His 5 internal organs seemed to be broken, blood was blue from his mouth, and his eyes began to blur. Battle of firewood is waste of firewood. the seeds in your hands are also a waste of resources. Xiao walked up with a sneer, and the long sword pointed directly into my heart, preparing for me the last blow. Yuze! Yulin saw the scene, his eyes were red, and he suddenly rushed over, holding the pill and pressed it in front of me, and was forced to get a splash from Xiao. Blood flowed like a lot of blood on his body, but he gritted his teeth and shouted, "If you want to move my brother, please stop me first. Even if I die, I will hold you back." I watched Jianlin fall in front of me, my brain was blank. This is my brother. He grew up together and was bullied and always stood up for me. Now he doesn't want to live for me. My eyes couldn't stop flowing, and my voice was hissing, "Yunlin, don't die. I'm going to turn over with you and don't let me down." Qianlin grinned nervously, breathing weakly, Don't cry, brother is not worth it. I'll bring out the elixir, you will definitely survive." He used the last little energy to take out 3 spirit grass from his back, stuffed it into the elixir, and his fingers trembled, and his mouth was filled with a few handprints. Xiao sneered and wanted to stop lifting the sword. "Yuan Dan? I have delusions." But Lin Jiqing suddenly pulled the sword and stood up, dragged her seriously injured body to Xiang Zhihao, dragging him for a few seconds, and shouted, "Yuan Lin, hurry up." The elixir suddenly shook, and a golden light came out, and a thick fragrance of medicine spread out. With the last force, Yulin took out a crystal-clear elixir and stuffed it into my mouth. He continued, "Yuze. This is the Jiu Soul pill. Live, and beat me, and beat that dog thing." Before he finished speaking, he tilted his head and was completely out of breath. My eyes were flowing wildly, and I bit my teeth and swallowed the pills, my heart full of hatred. "Xiao, I swear that one day I will let you lose blood." The elixir melted in the mouth, and a warm current instantly penetrated all over my body. The fatal wounds on my body were actually combined at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the spirit inside my body stormed, as if it was about to explode. I opened my eyes quietly and felt like I was reborn, with an unprecedented power, and my hands holding the wooden sword were shaking. "Xiao!" I growled and stood up. A slash of mind in the sea of brain automatically moved. The sport was more than 10 times stronger than before. There was a thunderous force. The entire valley was shaken by this sensation. Xiao's face finally changed and he said astonished, "How is it possible? Why is this waste suddenly so strong? You are so powerful. I want you to kill Yulin today." I roared at him, and the wooden sword burst out with a half-meter-long breath, slashing his brain with a broken sound. This drama is the strongest strike since my cultivation. It combines the power of seeds and the medicinal effects of the 9-turning soul pill, and even breaks through the first level of a drama that can break the sky. Xiao was busy placing the striking, but his striking was shattered in front of me and was directly shattered. The whole person was chopped back several times, and blood was overflowing from the corners of his mouth. The subordinates behind him were all stunned when they saw this. They didn't expect that my wasteland could explode with such power. "Xiao, aren't you very crazy? Come on, try again." I gritted my teeth, my eyes full of murder, and another slash was slashed out. This time, the slash became even more powerful, and I directly slashed a deep slash on the ground, forcing Xiao to avoid the flash, without even having enough left. "Yuze, wait for me, I've recorded this note." Xiao gritted his teeth and his face was blue. He finally didn't dare to fight hard anymore. He turned around and ran away with a few subordinates, disappearing into the black fog. I looked at his escaped back and felt so happy, but I couldn't chase him. Although the 9-turn soul pill saved my life, my physical strength was too overdrawn. I knelt on the ground and gasped. That drama just now hit Xiao. It was so simple that the feeling of turning over was so cool. Lin Jiqing walked over with the long sword, her face turned pale, but her eyes were full of recognition. "Yuze, I didn't expect you to explode this power. I was shocked by that sword just now." I smiled bitterly, looked down at Qilin's body, and my heart felt a tingling pain again. This pill was exchanged with his life. "Qilin, I'm sorry, I didn't protect you. Lin Jiqing was silent for a moment and said lightly, he doesn't want his life to save you. What you have to do now is not to be self-responsible, but to become stronger and avenge him. I clicked the head, bit my teeth tightly, picked up Julin's body, carefully placed it aside, and swore, brother, I will definitely let Jihao pay for the price, you can wait and see. As he was speaking, a low bird suddenly came from the middle of the valley, and then a golden light rose into the sky, illuminating the entire Nether Valley. Lin Jiqing and I looked at each other, and hurriedly walked over and found that there was a hidden stone platform at the deepest bottom of the valley. There was a crystal as big as a fist on the stage, emitting a heavy spirit, as if it was alive. This is the treasure of the Forbidden Land, the Nine Heavens Spirit Core. Lin Jiqing's eyes lit up and she said in a low voice, it is said that this is the treasure of the core of the Forbidden Land, which can purify the spirit, improve cultivation, and even help people break through the realm. My heart moved, damn, this thing is so awesome if you hear it. With this spirit core, I think it may become stronger faster, so I will find Jihao to calculate the overall account. I gritted my teeth and said, Jiqing, we took this thing. Jihao will definitely not let us go, but I'm not afraid, what about you? Lin Jiqing sneered and said, scared? A joke. Although the Ji family is powerful, Lin Jiqing, are not easy to mess with. If we take the spirit core, we will always have a chance to kill him if we have the strength. I clicked my head and reached out to pick up the Nine Heavens Spirit Core. When I felt a pure spirit rushing into my body, my overdraft energy had recovered a lot. I grinned, collected the spirit and said, then it's decided, Jihao, the battle of the Nine Heavens, I'm waiting for you. Lin Jiqing pointed at the head, and we supported each other, carried Lu Lin's body and treasure, and walked towards the forbidden exit. Although this battle was awesome, a fire burned in my heart. Jihao, you can escape today, but you can't escape tomorrow. I want to use a sword to break the sky and trample you under my feet. Lin Jiqing and I supported each other, carried the body of Yulin, and put the Nine Heavens Spirit Core and the sacred flower seeds, step by step out of the last stone door of the forbidden area. The sun shone down and shone on my bloody face. I squinted my eyes and took a deep breath, feeling like I was climbing out of the ground. The forbidden area is a life-threatening life, but I survived and brought the treasures. This is already a great fortune. Yuze, there is the edge of the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm in front of you. If you leave this wasteland, you can reach the territory of Qinjianmen. Lin Jiqing's voice was low, her face was still pale, and her injuries were not completely cured, but there was a sense of determination in her eyes. Jihao's dog thing will definitely not let us go, and there will be tough battles next. I clicked, looked down at the seeds in the morning, and gritted my teeth and said, come on, I am now blessed by the spirit cord, and the medicinal effect of the 9-round soul pill is left to the point of being devastated. I'm afraid they will be furious. I must report the revenge of Yulin. As the voice fell, a sudden burst of voice came from a distance. Lin Jiqing and I immediately felt alert and stood with our arms tightly. Several black shadows fell from the sky, and after landing, there were several men wearing black robes, and Jihao was the leader. His face was as dark as if water could drip out of it, and his eyes were staring at me, as if he wanted to swallow me alive. Yuze, you really have the fate to walk out of the forbidden area alive. Jihao sneered, his body's spirit surged, his breath was stronger than when he was in the Netherworld Valley. He probably had already stepped into the peak of the Foundation Land. Behind him were 5 or 6 masters, each of which was not low in cultivation. He was wearing a family uniform and a word thunder on his chest. People from the Lei family? Lin Jiqing's pupils shrank and she said to me in a low voice, the Lei family is the top family in the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm. Its strength is no worse than that of my Qinglin family. Jihao can bring them into the group, but it seems that he is heartbroken to kill us. My heart sank. Damn, Jihao, a guy like this really has the means to connect the power of the aristocratic family. This is to fight the whole network. But I was dissatisfied with my mouth, grinned and replied with a tough look, Jihao, did you bring so many people to block me, are you afraid that you can't beat me alone? or is it that you are just a jealous person who will only hide behind others? Jihao's face turned black, and he was obviously poked into the pain by me. He said coldly, "You are stubborn, right? Yuze, today I want to see what kind of waves you can do with your waste wood. Hand over the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers, otherwise I will not be able to keep your entire body." "Thank you." I opened my arms and broke the wooden sword in my hand. A heart method that broke the sky in my brain automatically moved, and the spirit inside my body was surging. The 9 heavenly spirit core inside also emitted a warm force, which made my state rise instantly. I growled, "Jiqing, let's work together, let's get rid of this and help the poor, and Jihao will stay until the end to clean up." Lin Jiqing pointed her head, her long sword was out of the sheath, and the green light flashed, and her breath was shining. "Okay, although the people in the Lei family are strong, they are many. We fight with the fast and slow, so we find a chance to break through." Before he finished speaking, Jihao snatched his hand, and several masters of the Lei family immediately rushed over, and their spirit exploded, and several sword-light slashing shadows rushed us directly. I gritted my teeth to meet him, and the wooden sword shook, and the sword was as angry as a rainbow, and it slashed towards the first enemy. The guy was in the early stage of the foundation, and saw that I was so cruel that I was still disdainful, but the next second, my breath directly teared his defense open, and a deep hole was made in his chest, and blood was sprayed wildly, and the whole person flew backwards. What? The faces of other Lei family masters changed drastically, and it was obvious that I could do it in one move. Jihao's pupils shrank, and he gritted his teeth and said, "What kind of motor did this waste get in the forbidden area? Why is it so strong suddenly? Is it strong or not? Just try it." I grinned and felt very happy. The power of the 9 heavens spirit core and the blessing of the seeds made every drama of thunder. Although my cultivation was still poor, my combat power had to be brought to a new level. While the other party was stunned, I slashed out another sword, and this time I directly locked the second master of the Lei family. The sword was as angry as a rainbow, and he took the sound of breaking his head. The guy reacted quickly and his sword was slammed, but my sword was too fierce, and the blade cracked with a click sound. He was slashed and his face turned pale. I didn't give him a chance to breathe, and I chased after him another shot, slashing his shoulder directly, and the blood fog was sprayed. He screamed and couldn't get up. 2. I gasped, wiped the blood from my face, turned my head to look at the remaining Lei family masters, all with murder. At this moment, I was not the waste firewood that was trampled under my feet, but a warrior who could break the sky. With 2 strong enemies, this thrill of crushing pressure made me stand on the head. Lin Jiqing was not idle either. She had a rainbow of swords and a blue light flash, which forced the 2 enemies to suppress. Although she had not injured her, her move was fatal, which forced the other party not to get close. She glanced at me and smiled at the corner of her mouth. "Yuze, it's very good to fuck me, keep going, don't let Jihao laugh." "Don't worry, he will always be the one who laughs." I gritted my teeth and replied, turning my head towards the third Lei family master. This guy's cultivation was slightly higher, approaching the middle stage of the foundation realm. His spirit turned into a lightning and struck him, and his energy was not weak. My heart was tight, but it did not retreat. A sword of the sky-breaking mind in the sea of brain turned to the extreme. The wooden sword burst out half a foot of rage, and it forced its lightning light. Room. 2 forces collided, and the air was swelling. I was shocked to retreat 2 steps, my arms were numb, but that guy was not easy. The lightning was torn apart by my sword, and my face was full of shock. I gritted my teeth and growled, and before he could come back to his senses, the tip of the sword pierced his heart. With a flash of blood, he widened his eyes and fell down, and his cry was not even enough. 3. I was silent in my heart. Although the spirit in my body was consumed, the 9 heavens spirit cores kept replenishing, keeping my state at the peak. With 3 strong enemies in the battle, who dares to believe that I am the outer door of Qingjianmen? I turned to look at Jihao and grinned and said, "Jihao, have you seen it? Your dog legs are in front of me, don't cut them." Jihao's face was blue, and he obviously didn't expect me to explode this kind of war. He gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, very good. Yuze, I underestimate you. But do you think that this way can I win me?" "A dream." He suddenly took out a black jade token from him, with strange runes engraved on it, and a creepy breath was emitted. "Tao secret?" Lin Jiqing's face changed drastically and she said to me in a low voice, "Be careful, Jihao is the secret technique of the Lei family. It can improve the cultivation in a short time, but the price is huge. He really wants to fight hard." My heart sank. Is this guy still having a backup plan? But before I could react, Jihao crushed the jade token hard, and a black aura burst out from his body. The spirit suddenly burst into flames, and the aura reached the peak of the foundation, and even showed signs of breakthrough. His eyes turned red, and his voice was as low as a gangster, "Yuze, you will die today." Before he finished speaking, his figure flashed, and the long sword rushed towards me with black air, so fast that I could hardly see clearly. I kept busy placing the siege, but his strength was too strong, and it shocked me as soon as I hit it. The wooden siege broke into 2 pieces with a click. I smashed the whole person to the ground, and my chest almost vomited blood. "Rain!" Lin Jiqing saw the situation and gritted her teeth and rushed over. The sword light kept holding Jihao, but she had not hurt her. She was not against Jihao at all. After a few moves, she was slapped and fell to the ground. Her breathing was weak. "Jiqing!" My eyes roared, and my heart was full of anger. Jihao is such a dog-like thing, relying on secrets to bully people too much. Even if I try my best today, I will still pull him on the back. I gritted my teeth and got up, and the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers in my heart suddenly became hot, and a familiar force rushed into my body, refreshing my spirit. But Jihao didn't give me a chance to breathe, and another slash came, and the black air was ripped, making me feel breathless. I gritted my teeth and resisted, and I barely held my sword, but my whole body was so pressed that I knelt on the ground, my bones almost broke. Jihao sneered and looked down at me, bowing as a piece of firewood. "No matter how hard it is, it will not be able to turn the sky. I will hand over the seeds and I will give you a happy time. Have fun." I gritted my teeth and cut, and a sudden mental method in the sea of my brain turned to the extreme. The fusion of spirit and the power of seeds in my body fusion, and an unprecedented sensation burst out. Although the wooden sword was cut off, I stabbed it out with the blade, and the sword was as angry as a rainbow, forcing Jihao to step back. But this is not enough. His cultivation has improved too much, and I am not a match at all. The remaining 2 masters of the Lei family also took advantage of the opportunity to come up, and the sword light and shadow rushed towards me. A few more wounds were added to my body, and the blood continued to flow. The battle was stuck, and Lin Jiqing and I were almost completely weak. "Yuze, it seems that I really have to explain this today." Lin Jiqing smiled bitterly, her voice weak, and it was obviously almost limiting. "That's a big deal. I haven't taken revenge yet, how can I die?" I gritted my teeth and shouted, but my heart began to feel guilty. Jihao's secret is too strong, we can't waste him at all. How can we really fall into this? At this moment, a rapid pace suddenly came from afar, followed by a familiar voice shouting, "Yuze, hold on, I'm here." I turned my head and saw that it was Fenglin. He hugged the broken elixir and ran over sweating profusely. Although his face was pale, his eyes were full of anger. "Yulin? Aren't you dead?" I was stunned, my eyes almost glaring out. Before, he was in Netherworld Valley, but he was obviously angry, so how could he still be alive? Wu Lin grinned and gasped, saying, "Yeah, my life is very strong. At that time, I kept my last test pill, hanged my breath, and then returned my life and rushed to catch up with you. Damn, Jihao is such a dog, bullying people too much. Today I fought with you." I felt aroused in my heart, damn, brothers are brothers, and I can always surprise me at the critical moment. I gritted my teeth and said, "Okay, you are here just in time. Let's work together to kill this bastard." Lin Jiqing also stood up reluctantly and said, "Yunlin, are you still alive to save your life?" Give me a little, and I can fight again. Qianlin smiled and took out 2 elixirs from him, and threw them to Lin Jiqing and me. This is an improved version of the soul pill. Although it is not as good as Jiuji, it can recover some injuries. Take it quickly. I took the pill and swallowed it in one gulp. When I felt a warm current swelling all over my body, my wounds no longer hurt so much, and my spirit recovered a little. After Lin Jiqing took the elixir, her temperament changed a little. She held the longsword tightly and yelled softly, Yuze, Yulin, let's go together, don't let Jihao get angry. Zillion pointed his head and took out a handful of red flame-burning pill from the elixir, grinning, I have an elixir tube, blow him up first and give you time. After saying that, he suddenly threw out a few elixirs, directly urging Jihao and the remaining lay family masters, only hearing a few loud noises and 4 flames. Although Jihao was not injured, he was also bombarded to stop attacking, and his face became even darker. Looking for death. Jihao roared angrily, and the dark aura stormed, ready to rush towards Fenglin. But I seized the opportunity and roared, Jiqing, cover me up, I want to use my ultimate move. Lin Jiqing pointed at the head, and the sword flashed, dragging Jihao for a few seconds. I closed my eyes and a sword that broke the sky in my brain turned to the limit. The spirit, the power of seeds and the blessing of the spirit core were all fused. An unprecedented sword burst out from the blade, reaching 10 feet long, with a thunder ring. I opened my eyes quietly and growled, Jihao, go to die. The drama is as angry as a rainbow, carrying the mighty battle to rush Jihao. This blow is the strongest blow I can place so far, the air is torn apart, making a sharp sound. How is that possible? He gritted his teeth, obviously he didn't expect that I could explode such power. 2 masters from the Lei family next to him were stunned when they saw this. Qianlin took the opportunity to throw out a few more explosive flame pills, which made them so badly. Lin Jiqing seized the opportunity, and with a flash of light, she directly solved one of them, the blood fog sprayed. There is one more. I gritted my teeth and rushed towards the last Lei family master. I slammed my blade and slammed it again, and I forced him to fly, causing blood to spread all over the floor. With 4 strong opponents, plus 3 of them just now, I finally made a name for this battle, and I felt so happy that I was about to fly. Jihao saw that all his subordinates were under control, his face was terrifyingly dark, but the black air inside him began to be unstable, and it was obvious that the side effects of taboo secrets began to appear. He gritted his teeth and stared at me, and said in a cold voice, Yuze, I have recorded this account. Today's humiliation will be reported today. After speaking, his body flashed, and he fled with the last little force and disappeared into the sky. I looked at his back and couldn't chase him. I sat on the ground, gasping for breath. Lin Jiqing and Yulin also came over. The 3 of them looked at each other. Although they were so stubborn, they both grinned. Damn, Yuze, you're just that slap, you're so awesome. Jihao was so slashed by you. Yulin patted my shoulder, feeling so happy that he couldn't hold his mouth. Lin Jiqing looked at her head, her eyes filled with approval. Yuze, this battle will soon be heard that you are famous and the immortal realm will be revealed. Although Jihao escaped, he was seriously injured and dared not come again for trouble in a short period of time. I wiped the blood from my face and grinned, finding the immortal realm. It's very pleasant to hear it, but I haven't reported the hatred of Yulin yet. Jihao is not dead, and I don't have any thoughts. We have to continue to become stronger. Next time we meet, I will chop him with one blow. Wu Lin smiled and shook the elixir. Don't worry, I have elixir. Next, I will study a few more ruthless goods to ensure that Jihao can't take it. Lin Jiqing also pointed out and said, the Qinglin family has some resources, so I will go back and adjust it to help you improve your strength. Jihao tied the Lei family, and there will definitely be big moves in the future, so we have to prepare for it. I clicked my head, stood up, and looked at the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm away, and a fire ignited in my heart. Jihao, this battle is just the beginning, the battle of the Nine Heavens is waiting for you. At that time, I will use a sword to break the sky and crush your destiny. I stood on the cliff of the Nine Heavens, shouting wildly, blowing my robe and slapping. Under the foot is a deep and purplish fog, and above is the most dazzling galaxy in the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm, as if it has won the stage for this fate. The blade in my hand has been quenched by my spirit. Although it is still broken, it has emitted a sensation of spiral. The seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers in the sun were as hot as before, as if they were ready to explode at any time. Yuze, when you reach this point, you really dare to die. Nowhere far away, Zhihao was wearing a black robe, and Long Yan pointed to the ground, and the spirit emitting from his body was so stressed that the air was trembling. His eyes were cold, and a sneer came out of a sneer on the corner of his mouth. Bowing is drying. Even if you have a few extensions, it cannot change your true nature. Today, I want you to know what real hope is. I sneered, held the blade tightly, and replied hard, Zhihao, just say nothing. You have been pressing me, hurting my parents, and forcing my brother to death. Today, we will settle the account at once. I will use this sword to send you to the ground. The next to him patted the elixir in his hand and grinned, Yuze, fuck this dog's thing. I'll supplement you at any time. Lin Jiqing stood on the other side, her long sword was unsheathed, and the green light flashed, and said coldly, Zhihao, if I don't kill you today, I, Lin Jiqing, will not be a human being. Yuze, let's work together to break his aura first. Zhihao snorted coldly, his eyes swept over the three of us, and said in a cold voice, a group of people dare to challenge me, too? Okay, today I will let you see what real power is. He suddenly bit his fingertips, blood dripped on the long sword, and chanted a series of strange curse in his mouth. The black air on his body stormed, and the spirit instantly rose to a terrifying realm, and he broke through the foundation realm and approached the early stage of the golden elixir realm. Reach the Yuan. Lin Jiqing's face changed and she said to me in a low voice, Yuze, be careful. This is the taboo secret of the Lei family. It can burst out with super strong combat power in a short time, but the price is discounted for hundreds of years. He is so heartbroken that he wants to kill us. My heart sank, damn, this guy is really desperate. But I was dissatisfied with my mouth and gritted my teeth and said, what's the case with Zhili? I'm going to kill him today. Jiqing, Yulin, cover me up, I want to turn him in front of me. Before I finished speaking, I growled, and a scattered mental method in the sea of my brain turned to the extreme. The spirit inside my body was surging wildly. The power of the Nine Heavens spirit core and the power of the holy sacred flower seeds were blessed at the same time. A half-meter-long scattered ejaculation burst out from the blade, carrying the thunderous force and thunder. Looking for death. Zhihao shouted angrily, and the long sword blew, and the black air turned into a huge shadow, and the air was as strong as a rainbow, facing my breath. Room. Two forces collided, and the airwaves were 4 times, and the ground of the Nine Heavens was shaken out of several cracks. I was shocked and took a few steps back, my arms were numb, and a silk of blood was overflowing from the corners of my mouth, but Zhihao was not easy to pass, and his face was slightly white. It was obvious that I didn't expect me to take this blow. Wan Chai, can I actually beat me up? It's a bit meaningful. Zhihao sneered, his figure flashed, and his speed was as fast as a ghost. The long sword was holding black air and stabbed my heart. I gritted my teeth and flashed my body, and slashed it with my backhand, and the sword was as angry as a rainbow, forcing him to take a step back. But his cultivation was too strong, and another second was slashing. The black air made me breathless. I was busy slamming the blade, but my whole body was shocked and hit the cliff hard. My chest was stuttering, and I almost vomited blood. Yuze! Lin Jiqing shouted softly, the sarcastic light was like a rainbow, and the green light flashed, and she forced Xiang Zhihao to hold him up. Wu Lin was not idle either. He took out a handful of explosive flame pill from the elixir and threw it out suddenly. There were a few loud noises and 4 flames. Although he couldn't hurt Zhihao, he at least made him distracted. The trick of carving a slut. Zhihao snorted coldly, and the black air shook, directly dispersing the flames, and slapped Lin Jiqing with one palm. Lin Jiqing was reluctant to put on the slat, but she was still photographed and fell to the ground, with blood flowing from the corners of her mouth. When Zillion saw this, he gritted his teeth and threw out a few elixirs, but the effect was very little. Xiao disdained him at all and turned his head and rushed towards me. The long sword pointed directly at my brain, and the killing was so strong that it could not be dissolved. "Yuze, hide!" Yulin shouted, but I couldn't react at all, so I could only take on this drama. The blade collided with his long sword, making a harsh sound of gold. My whole body was pressed to kneel on the ground, my bones were almost broken, blood was spraying from my mouth, and my eyes began to blur. "Wait, what's the use of slapping? I'll take your life today." Xiao sneered. The black air on the long sword became increasingly heavy, so I could hardly lift my head. I bit my teeth tightly, my heart full of anger. Damn, the humiliation, the revenge of Yulin, and the death of my parents all come back today. But his power is too strong, I am not a match at all, and my inner spirit is almost exhausted. "Yuze, hold it!" Yulin shouted anxiously, threw out another soul pill and rolled it to my foot. I gritted my teeth and swallowed it. The injury recovered a little, but it was still far away. Lin Jiqing also stood up reluctantly, stabbed her with a long sword, trying to hold Zhihao back again, but she was too severe and was kicked by a foot after a few strokes. Her breath was as weak as if she would quit at any time. "Jiqing! Yulin!" My eyes turned red, and my heart felt like it was being slashed by a knife. Brothers and fighters don't want to die for me. Can I still be so worried? I growled, stood up with a stern, pointed at Zhihao with his blade, and shouted, "Zhihao, even if I die, I will pull you on my back." "Bored? A joke!" Zhihao sneered, and the long sword snatched, and the black air turned into several sword shadows, slashing at me with a huge swagger. I gritted my teeth and resisted, and the sword was so angry that it was still pressed back, and the wounds on my body were getting more and more, and the blood was almost dry. The battle was finally in an absolute state. Lin Jiqing and Yulin, were forced to the cliff and had no choice but to retreat. "Yuze, it seems that I really need to explain this." Lin Jiqing smiled bitterly, her voice weak, and the long sword could hardly hold it. Yulin was also gasping for a long time. The elixir in the elixir was almost used as much as possible, and his face was as white as paper. "That's a big deal. I haven't taken revenge yet, how can I die?" I gritted my teeth and shouted, but my heart began to feel guilty. Xiao's secret is too volatile, we can't waste him at all. How could we really fall into the turmoil of these 9 heavens? At this moment, the seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers in the sky suddenly shook, and an unprecedented heat flowed, instantly sank throughout my body. My brain buzzed, as if I was struck by lightning. My whole body was refreshed, and the power inside my body suddenly burst out, even with a breakthrough. Then, a low voice echoed in my brain, "Little guy, what are you still hiding when you arrive at this point? The seeds of the holy sacrificial flowers have been fully awakened, and the true power is controlled by you." Totally awake? I was stunned for a moment, looked down and saw that the seeds in the sea were radiant and golden, as if they were alive, emitting a palpitations. I felt aroused in my heart, and I immediately understood that this thing was about to explode all its strength. I couldn't think too much about it. I held the blade tightly, and a sword that broke the sky in the sea of brain automatically moved to the extreme. The spirit and the power of the seeds merged, and the sword instantly rose to a terrifying state. "Xiao, go to die." I growled, and the blade burst out with a slight burst of a slight rage. The thunder rippled like a rainbow, and there was a striking force that broke the world. Xiao's face changed drastically and he said in surprise, "How is this possible? Why is this waste suddenly so strong?" He hurriedly rolled the sword and the black air stormed violently, trying to resist, but his black air was unable to withstand in front of my air and was torn to pieces. The long sword clicked sound and broke into 2 pieces. His whole person was chopped back 10 steps, and his blood was sprayed wildly, with a full look of shock. "Impossible! I don't believe it!" Xiao roared, and forced himself to repel the power of the burning power and then squeezed another wave of defense. But my sword was too fierce, and the thunder force directly crushed, and the defense collapsed instantly. His chest was penetrated by the sword, and the blood fog was sprayed. The whole person was chopped and smashed hard on the cliff. His breath was as weak as if it would suffocate at any time. "Xiao, this is your next scene." I gasped, dragged my scarred body, walked over step by step, and pointed the blade straight at his heart, with all my eyes full of murder. The humiliation over the years, the death of parents, and the death of Sherlin, will all be counted as back today. I am not a waste of firewood, I am a scattered man. Xiao stared at me, bleeding from the corner of his mouth, and hissed, "Yuze, you can actually get this step, I'm not willing to give up." He tried to get up again, but I didn't give him a chance. He slammed his blade and his breath rose again, and he directly penetrated his heart, blood all over the ground. His eyes widened, and finally he was completely angry, fell to the ground, and he had no rest. Die. I finally died. I knelt on the ground, slammed my blade and gasped. "Xiao, this poisonous snake has suppressed my old enemy for many years, and was finally killed by me." This ultimate reversal pleasure was like a huge wave blasting every nerve of my mind, so my whole body was trembling. I growled, looking up at the sky, and the sound echoed in the nine heavens, as if I was venting all the anger that had been suppressed for many years. "Yuze, it's awesome." Xiao's dog thing finally got hung up. Yulin ran over and patted my shoulder, his face full of excitement. Although he was not too weak, he grinned like a fool. Lin Jiqing walked up with the long sword, her eyes filled with approval, and said lightly, "Yuze, in this battle, you are famous in the Immortal Realm. When Xiao dies, who dares to underestimate you?" I wiped the blood from my face and grinned, "Finished Fairyland?" "It feels good to hear it, but this is just the beginning. Qilin, Jiqing, we have walked together, and there is a bigger way to go next." As the voice fell, the nine heavens suddenly shook. Beside Xiao's body, a golden light rose into the sky. Then the sky and the entire fairyland brightened up, and countless spirits gathered together, as if they recognized my victory and rushed towards me. I was stunned for a moment, and immediately felt the spirit inside my body turbulent. I practiced to directly break through the foundation realm, reaching the early stage of the golden elixir realm, and even had a higher level of sign. "This is the inheritance of the Lord of the Immortal Realm?" Lin Jiqing was shocked, her eyes filled with shock. "Yuze, the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm recognizes you. You kill Xiao and smash your fate, and have become the new master." I felt the power in my body and felt ecstatic. Damn, I went from the outer door of a green cloud door to the Lord of the Green Cloud door and walked back to today, and finally became the Lord of the Immortal Realm. This kind of pleasure from the bottom of the valley to the cloud is so simple and don't feel too good. I stood up, opened my blade high, and my spirit exploded, turning into a scattered light and rising into the sky, illuminating the entire Nine Heavens Immortal Realm. From today, I, Yuze, will be the new master of the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm. Who dares not accept it and come to fight? I growled, and the sound spread throughout every corner of the Immortal Realm. When countless immortal cultivators heard the sound, they kept raising their heads, their eyes filled with awe. All the powers of Qinjianmen, Lei family, and Qinglin family know that from then on, the Immortal Realm has changed its master. Yuanlin laughed and patted the Danku and said, "Yuze, you have become the Lord of the Immortal Realm, don't forget your brother. I will also use you to produce more immortal pills, which will be famous all over the world." Lin Jiqing also pointed, put away the long sword, and said lightly, "Yuze, the Qinglin family has been here since now, only you are the leader. You are worthy of everyone's admiration for you all the way." I looked at them, and my heart felt warm. From Wuchai to the Lord of the Immortal Realm, if I hadn't been accompanied by Yanlin and Jiqing in the past few years, I would have died halfway. I grinned and said, "Don't worry, we are in the Iron Triangle, and no one can break it up. Qilin, I fully support your elixir business. Jiqing, the affairs of the Qinglin family are mine. The Nine Heavens Immortal Realm will be our world in the future." Speaking, I turned toward the galaxy far away, held the blade tightly, and a larger group of fire ignited in my heart. The fate has been broken and the immortal journey has been completed, but this is not the end, but a new beginning. My parents, Yulin's death, and all the hatred and humiliation I used this drama to report back. From now on, I will guard the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm, and no one will dare to bully or insult me again. The wind stopped, the clouds dissipated, and the stars from the Nine Heavens blew on me, as if they were wearing a layer of golden armor on me. I, Yulin and Lin Jiqing stood by the cliff, overlooking the entire fairyland, and laughing in the world. At this moment, I finally understood what it means to truly change fate against the will of heaven.